G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I want to show you how you can improve your balance in less than 30 seconds. Now I know that can sound a little bit far-fetched, a little bit clickbaity if you will, but there's a really fantastic exercise that's really simple that ties into balance really well. And by doing this exercise for less than 30 seconds legitimately, you should be able to see an immediate improvement in how you balance, particularly on one leg. So the way to sort of understand how this works, we want to basically talk about what balance is. And for those who don't know, balance is generally comprised of three main systems that work together to allow us to do something like standing on one leg. The first is your vestibular system or your inner ear. The second is our visual system, which obviously allows us to process visual information to help us balance better. And the third one, which is often overlooked but is really, really important, is our proprioception. And basically what proprioception is, again, for those who don't know, is our ability to know where we are in space without looking at it. So if I turn my head away, I know that my thumb is up, I know that my thumb is down. We have this joint position sense that relays this information back to us so we know where we are without having to look at it. And this is what we want to basically look at today to improve your balance within 30 seconds. So one of the things that I find clinically that I don't think gets sort of picked up enough in the industry is that your proprioception or your joint position sense is heavily influenced by joint stiffness. And when we're talking about balance, or in this case single leg balance, your ankle plays a really strong role in your ability to interpret your joint position sense. Your proprioception of your ankle has a really strong say in how good your balance is. And in the modern world today, our ankles have a tendency to be a lot stiffer than they should be, a lot more restrictive, basically for two main reasons. The first one is that we tend to wear heeled shoes, flip-flops, thongs. We tend to wear a lot of footwear that robs us of our ankle range of motion over time. And the second one is sitting. When we tend to sit, our foot and ankle are generally stuck in the same position for hours on end, and then the body gets used to that. It tends to get stiffer in that position. So when we're doing this exercise, if you find your balance is a little bit shaky to begin with, and then you do this exercise and it gets better within a very short amount of time, then very strongly consider those two factors. Take a look at how much you're sitting, or at least when you are sitting, try and move a little bit more. Or the type of shoes that you wear, we want to make sure that we're less in heeled shoes, more in a flatter, more barefoot shoe if possible, walking around barefoot more, whatever that might be. So the exercise basically requires using a power band, which are pretty tight to the tree here. But what I'd like you to do before we get to this exercise is I want you to test out your single leg balance first. We want to get a sense of how this feels so that when you do the exercise, you can see that it makes a genuine difference. So while you're doing this, take note of how wobbly you feel, take note of how safe you feel, how comfortable you feel. Even if you want to put a number on it, maybe count to 30 seconds or a minute just to see how well you go doing this. And then we want to get to this ankle mobility exercise and then come back and retest it again so you can see the change. So basically all we want to do here is we want to tie the band to something that won't move, slide the band around the ankle, so just above the ankle bone for me. Some people like to put it below the ankle bone, and that tends to tie more closely into the proper mechanics of the joint. But clinically, I find that if you have the band just above the ankle, it really biases the back of the joint a little bit more, which is the part of the joint that tends to get really stiff in a lot of people. So the way to do this exercise, this banded ankle stretch, is you want to have it just above the ankle bone for me. You want to stretch it out as far as you feel comfortable. You want both your feet straight. So again, to see this from front on, you want both your feet straight. You want to bend your back ankle. You don't want that knee to cave inwards. You want to keep that knee out as far as you feel comfortable. And essentially, you want to bring your hips past your ankle and then bend that back ankle. A lot of people, when they do this stretch, tend to turn it into a bit of a squat, and we tend to fatigue a little bit too quickly through those quads, through those knees. But what I'll get you to do is bring your hips past your foot, bend your ankle a little bit, hang out in this position for 30 seconds. So again, you can do it for 10 seconds and it'll make a difference, but for the purposes of this video at least, we'll do it for 30 seconds, you can do it for a minute, you can do it for 2 minutes, do it for as long as you feel comfortable, and then what you'll hopefully feel is this ankle will free up a lot faster. And the brilliant thing about the bands, and these power bands are fantastic, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can pick one up or at least see what they look like, is that they specifically bias that joint in a way that regular calf stretches, regular ankle stretches just don't do. We need a bit of specific pressure at the base of that ankle to really bias that capsule, which again is the structure that gets stiff. So This isn't necessarily a muscular stretch, it's getting to the joint restriction in that area. And for want of a better phrase, it sort of wakes up those joint proprioceptors a little bit more once the ankle joint is more mobile. So if we want to attack some of the musculature around the joint as well, we can tense everything up. So we can squeeze the muscles around our ankle, muscles of our foot, hold that for 5 seconds and then relax. We can go a little bit further and do the same thing again, squeeze for a few seconds and then relax. But the best thing about this exercise is once you've done it, you should automatically feel like it's a little bit looser through that ankle straight away. But when you recheck your balance again, it should feel easier. You shouldn't feel like you're moving around as much. You shouldn't feel like you're wobbling as much. You should feel a lot more calm and relaxed in this position. And then it will instantly improve your single leg balance. So give this exercise a go. It's the banded ankle stretch, and you'll see within 30 seconds that your balance, and particularly your single leg balance, should feel instantly better straight away. So if you do, please let me know in the comments below how you found it. Please leave a like on the video if you found it was helpful. I want these videos to reach as many people as possible. Hopefully you can hear me. The river's roaring in the background, or at least it sounds that way. And then if you enjoy this content, if you find this stuff helpful, please follow along and subscribe to the channel. And hopefully there's some fantastic videos to come. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.